You're with Cape Talk.
This is Pippa Hudson on Lunch.
Right, we have another one of the comeback kids on quarantines today. Those of you who were glued to your radios in the late 70s and early 80s might remember a band called Gutter, who had a number of singles charting on local radio stations in that era, and they released an album called Cabbages and Kings. And then life took them all in different directions, as it does, but their love of music has never gone away, and their friendship has obviously survived, because 36 years after that debut album, they've just released a second one called Shoes and Ships and Sealing Wax. And the remarkable thing about this, besides the fact that it's been 36 years between album 1 and album 2, is the fact that the three brand members don't even live on the same continents any longer. One of them is in the UK, one is in Australia, and one is here in Cape Town. This entire album has been crafted and put together in studios on 3 different continents, and that is a story I want to hear. On the line with me is Tony Huggett, who is the Cape Town resident member of Gutter. Tony, 36 years in the making. Good afternoon. What was it like to record together again after so much time?
Pippa, it was really fantastic. Thanks for having me on the show. It was a great time putting it all together. The slight correction, there were a number of people, one contributor in the UK and 2 in Cape Town. So
Okay.
Paul Howard and I both live in Cape Town, but the thing was done remotely over a period of years, and it was a great experience doing it again. So very different. We kind of had the social distancing thing long before COVID, I think, and the contact over the internet, putting it all together was at first very strange, but we gradually got into how to make it work, and we figured it worked pretty well. So we really, but it was great fun doing it again after all these years, I must admit. Putting life back into songs, it's just such a pleasure to be able to do.
Tony, what made you decide to do it after all this time?
Well, it's an interesting thing. Paul, who did all of the engineering, a number of years ago, figured that we had some songs in our back catalogue that really needed to be played. And it took him a bit of time to persuade Mark, who's in Australia, and me to accept that it was possible to essentially set up a studio in our homes and put it all together internationally. But eventually he did that, and that's how it came about. We essentially designed the album picking songs that we figured fitted into a theme of mixture of love and friendship and despair and all sorts of interesting things. And essentially as an album, well, specifically as an album, so they're all songs which are not, sort of pop songs, top of the hit parade kind of things, but songs that, we figure deserve to be listened to.
As a matter of interest, Tony, in the intervening years, have any of you stayed in the music business, or have you gone off and done other things and come back to this as just something to do for fun?
Well, Mark and I have both continued playing in various groups, cover material and some original material. I played in Cape Town for many years with a group of good friends, and Mark likewise in Australia. But we didn't stick in the music industry as such. We were kind of doing it more for fun.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Tony, the new album's called Shoes and Ships and Sealing Wax. What's the story behind the title?
Well, it's really an extension of the original album, which was Cabbages and Kings, and the obvious Lewis Carroll connotations behind it. But the theme around it is essentially a mixed one of, as I said, songs of love and friendship, and the one of despair, which is Mary Jane, which is a very dark song, really, about child abuse. And it's one of those where we're kind of targeting to get that, to reach out to organizations to see if we can help get the message across in these cases. There's such a bad situation with so many children being physically, sexually, or emotionally abused, and it's one of those songs that we kind of felt very strongly about.
Am I getting my Lewis Carroll right? The Walrus and the Carpenter, I think, is the poem the reference comes from. Is that correct?
Quite correct, yeah,
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
Glad I didn't miss that one. My English teachers would be cursing me. Okay. Tony, we're going to play out the show with one of the songs off the new album called Silent Secret Darkness of the Night. If our listeners like what they hear, where do they go to find the rest of the album?
It's easily found on our website, which is www.originalgutter.com. or they can find it on all of the online streaming platforms, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, and the like. It's out there if you look for it under Gutter, Shoes and Ships and Sealing Wax. They'll find it there.
The kind of topsy-turvy poem that is quite appropriate for the world we're inhabiting right now, Tony. So it's been a delight to have you on the show chatting about the album it's inspired. Tony Huggett, one of the original members of Gutter, now back with their second album 36 years after the first. This is Silent Secret, Darkness of the Night.